Toastmaster, fellow Toastmaster, and all of our honored guests tonight. The best part of travel is when you get more than you bargained for. And that is exactly what happened to me in Denmark. After 3 months of backpacking through Europe, I finally touched down in Copenhagen with my old friend, Michelle. Each of us have been traveling independently, but we met up together to spend some time with her extended family in Denmark. It was a good idea, and not just because they gave us food and washed our clothes. Michelle's uncle Jesper and his wife Anne were phenomenal hosts. From the moment we arrived to the day we left a week later, Anne and Jesper made time to take us all over Copenhagen. They showed us the sights, they paid for everything, and then they ended with a night at Tivoli Gardens. Tivoli is this gorgeous little amusement park right in the center of Copenhagen. It was built in 1843. It's got roller coasters, merry-go-rounds, puppet shows, and this gorgeous ambiance, especially at night. Michelle, who had just been studying in Austria for a year, was gushing about how perfect everything was. And I said, yeah, it's kind of like Denmark's version of Disneyland. Michelle didn't like that. Of course Tivoli is better than Disneyland. It's European. I, on the other hand, had some pretty good memories of Disneyland. So we actually started debating about which theme park was superior. Fortunately, Anne, who was very well traveled and had been to Disneyland, was standing right next to us. So I asked her which one she liked better. Anne paused, thought for a moment, and then rocked my world with only 4 syllables. I like them both, she said. I like them both. Not a very complex statement. But it made me realize that Anne had learned something from travel that neither Michelle nor I had. Something about how to enjoy life. Why is it that us humans are so concerned with better? It's easy to see people getting in silly arguments when they're traveling, but we do it in every area of life. What's better, chicken or beef? Pepsi or Coke? Boxers or briefs? I even remember once when I was a kid, I attended a summer camp where the entire population literally divided itself on battle lines over whether to call a carbonated beverage soda or pop. Even Jonathan Swift, in chronicling the battles of the Lilliputians in Gulliver's Travels, once famously noted that 11,000 persons have suffered death rather than to submit to break their egg at the small end. This is, of course, satire. But it's not hard to find examples of countless human lives being lost over ethnicity or politics or any other preference which humanity might hold. And while our conversations, day to day, may be far less dramatic, the result's always the same. Everyone gets mad, nobody wins. I kept revisiting this issue after I left Tivoli, not just when I was traveling, but when I got back home. I've come up with a theory. I think we have these arguments about better because it's so easy for us to confuse better with good. If you think about the things that each of us love, our favorite food or hometown sports team or hobby, they're really extensions of ourselves. Our self-worth is, in part, wrapped up in the perceived value of what we value. We want to know that the things that we love are good and worthwhile because we want to believe that we're good. But it's a very small step between good and better. And that's when we start arguing. If we'll admit it, I think we're all secretly afraid that if somebody loves something different than what we love, it means that they think our stuff, our food, our hobbies, or whatever, are a little bit worse than theirs. Subpar. And so we argue with them about why what we love is better. Not because it matters, but because we're insecure. Now, I'm not here tonight to tell you that there's no place for ranking or competition. I love a good contest. I'm in one. But all real contests or rankings have objective standards and stated purposes. These arguments about better don't. I take that argument that I had with Michelle at Tivoli as an example of my own insecurity and inexperience. And I'm so glad Anne was there to show us how silly we were being. while the two of us were bickering, Anne was just enjoying a beautiful evening. I love her poise. She had every reason to tell us that herself and her hometown were better, to tell me, the American, that Tivoli was better than Disneyland. It didn't even look like it crossed her mind. She didn't need to. I love that graceful confidence. I wish everyone had it. I wish I had it. Tonight, I'm talking to myself as much as anyone else. I still obsess over better. I feel superior because I drink microbrews instead of Bud Light. And when I travel, I still compare Seattle to every other city. As a Toastmaster, I have also utterly lost the ability to listen to anyone talk without counting their ums and ahs. And I feel slightly better about myself because I use them less. Somehow, I think I may not be alone. One of the best parts about life is it's always giving us the new, the unexpected, and especially the different. There's always a country we've never been to, a song we've never heard, a dish that we've never tried. I just hope that we are the sort of people that can learn to appreciate that diversity. Every new thing that we learn to love is like a breath of fresh air. Everything that we dismiss or discount, just because it's different, is stagnation. Each of us will never love everything, or maybe even the same things. But we can all learn to love the vast and dynamic scope of humanity and this great planet we inhabit. As often as someone asks us if pizza is better than pasta, if Seattle is better than San Francisco, if wine is better than whiskey, I hope we're not afraid to pause, think, and tell them with confidence, I like them both. Mr. Toast.